Good evening, ladies and gents. We are once again back to the Kenshi and to the adventures of Terasaki Tonbo. Last time we left, our goal was to start a small outpost, which we actually did. Well, it's not truly an outpost, but rather we were able to purchase ourselves a house, a small one, and repair it, and also to put down a facility that allows us to do some research. And the research that we're going to do right now is the one that essentially discovers a box for the best, most expensive ore in the game, which is copper. So right here is our Tumbo trying to figure out how to build a box to put some ore in. And apparently the box that stores the copper is different from the one that stores iron or anything else. Somehow. So in the research panel you'll see that we're going through the research of a small house. We're going to finish this one up, and then hopefully we can go on and build the small storage container for the copper, and try to automate the process of harvesting copper ore. And well, the selling still has to be manual, but at least the harvesting process can be fairly automated. Well, actually, Terasaki is trying to finish up the research plans on the small buildings. How about we check out in our storage build options if we can actually make a storage container for ore. And it seems that we actually now can. That was something not available to us before. So we'll place a storage container for copper right here in the corner. Actually, the green people around the container show you the access points from which the characters can interact with the container. So we'll drop it over here. Say confirm. Yeah, of course you don't have the materials, and to figure out what kind of materials we need, those are the iron plates. So let us allow Terasaki to finish up on the small house research. Not much time left, probably 30-40 seconds, and then we'll need to go and grab ourselves a metal plate, an iron metal plate. Usually, as with the building materials, you can find those in the bars, so we can just move over here. Now let's follow. Oh, and you can see people yelling frantically that they can't afford anything because they're poor. They spend all their cats on purchasing a glass of grog, and nothing's left for food, as usually happens in rundown cities. Oh, look at that poor guy limping. Oh, that's a robot. Look at him. It's also a purple robot. I've never seen anyone like this before, but okay. Drifter. Another thing that I'm planning to do is I think I'll go forward and give Terasaki a teammate. So we've been going alone now for 5 days, and we have actually accumulated some money, and maybe we can find ourselves a worthwhile companion to share our adventure with. And venturing together, becoming a duo, is much more safe than solo. There's always a chance that one might escape and come back and patch up, or even save from slavery. Your main companion, or maybe your main companion, is going to save the AD. All of this is possible. But most important part, going around with two people is so much safer than being alone, just as in the real world. So let's allow Terasaki to finish the build. Here we go. We have a storage for copper now, and it can store 100 units of copper. Now, in this small shack, the thing is that we really don't have anything in terms of the interior, and it would be really nice to be able to have a bed, just in case if we get beaten up badly, we'll be able to heal ourselves faster. And the beds accelerate healing, if you remember from our first episode, by 800%, which is essentially 8 times. Let's look at the interior, and for the interior we basically can only put a barrel, so we don't know how to make beds, at least for now. Let us check the research. Public sales, and remember when I was talking about setting up the permissions for the entrance for your dwelling, you can make it private or public. Yeah, if you want to set up the public sales, then you need to have access to your house set as non-private, so public, so people can come in and buy and sell. Well, they don't sell things. They usually they buy stuff from you. There's no way to put buy orders here. So core. Let's see. There's crafting, fabric, metal, fencing. None of this is really needed. Farming, improved stone mining. You know what? How about we decide to make ourselves educated on improved stone mining? And as you can see, since we had the command given from the previous time to operate small research bench, now Terasaki will automatically go ahead and start doing the sciencey stuff. We're going to cancel this and head back on into the bar and try to find ourselves a worthwhile companion. Now the thing is, I actually know that with the Genesis mode in particular, there is a very nice companion available in this bar, and that is a pirate robot. If I wasn't making a more thematic playthrough with the Japanese theme, I would definitely name him something like Yargonaut, but yeah, we'll probably give him a more suitable name to make company to Terasaki. So let us look around. We're looking for a robot, and it doesn't seem that there is one on the first floor. Usually likes to hang out on the second one outside. So let's see. Oh, there we go. Here's that guy, and his name is Stock Metal Bone Pirates. Now, I haven't really actually encountered the Metal Bone Pirate faction anywhere else, but usually you don't discover not most, but a big portion of factions until you encounter them directly as their base somewhere in your game. So let's quickly check out if in faction we see Metal Bone Pirates. Metal Bone Pirates, indeed. There is a faction, there is a whole faction, and the standing is essentially neutral, it's 0. Let's talk to him. I believe he will ask 10,000 cats for joining us. Our matey seem to be lost. Think you can help an old pirate out? Wow, you're a pirate? Be a blind. Look at me clearly. I be pirate, but lost one at that. I'm from the East Coast, Gear Grove to be precise. I be an entire skeleton pirate town. How can I help? I be looking for the seas and me old crew. Well, we apparently far from the sea. How about you join? Or do you have a lot of booty? And here's a funny thing. Oh, Piper, but no, it's a bit odd to ask. Are, booty treasure? Oh, right. Yeah, we've got the money. We've got the money. Our 10,000 cats, I shall join your crew. So, welcome aboard. 10,000 cats. Oh, is that like, too much? Actually, 10,000 and most skeletons, except of some very particular unique recruits, will require you to pay 10,000 and sometimes even more than 10,000 cats in order for them to join you. And the reason for that is because, well, the skeletons are probably the strongest race in the game. Not in the unmodded version, but in the modded version where you can actually equip uh, the non-standard gear into the head slots and feet slots, as well as the shirt slots. Skeletons are really powerful. So, welcome aboard, matey. And when you hire a so-called a generic companion just like this one, who doesn't have a particularly outstanding personality and they don't have unique lines, you'll be given an option to select how they look. And what I'm going to do is I just go by the standard look. Actually, I don't think that the skin tone can be changed because I believe he's wearing a body wrap. So yeah, you can actually see that he's wrapped in a tissue. So I think that's one of the body wraps that we were not able to equip ourselves, but you know, sold off to the bartenders for 300 cats each. Now, do you want him to be, you know, really high, really tall? I actually like my robots being fairly tall. And I'll just deselect close to make sure what his body looks like. In frame, they usually get bulked up as their strength increases, and in living characters, except for the stick people, you can definitely see the increase in the bulk of muscle as well as the definition. For robots, you see the increase in the bulk. For hive people, you see only, again, increase in the bulk. The muscle definition really doesn't change. The posture, I don't know, a shoulder rest, obviously, you know, neck position, straight up, leg length, seems to be fine, shoulders, make it a little bit broader, arm bulk, that's fine, hands too large, chest, we want a puffy chest, I don't think we want a puffy chest, that usually will clip, well, make it 90, stomach, this is a big gut robot, that would be really strange. And on this particular type of the MK1s, I like the thin waist, kind of gives them a Terminator-y feeling. Hips, it's fine. Leg bulk, I like them having bulkier legs, and you can also change the ratio. And this is really cool. Robots look really great, particularly their detail in the skeleton is pretty good. So you know you can make these highly hydraulic thick legs, or balanced the way you want. Oh, I wanted something like this. Yeah, feet could be smaller, larger, your pick. Um, there's only one type of the face because it's fixed to the skeleton type. Head size usually should be probably smaller because robots are given oversized heads. Shape, if it's a thin or thick neck, it really doesn't matter. You won't see anything. You can increase the width of the neck length, make it short because otherwise this particular portion looks a little bit weird when you start putting on bulky armor. And I actually would want to make, well, not Stork, but Imamoto Ren, more of a heavy weapon fighter with big old sword and ultimately full body plate, hopefully. So I think this overall looks good. We don't have much of an in terms of armor, but that will do for now. And as you can see, there is some clipping going through this armor, but yeah, it's okay. That'd be great. So now we have a second character over here, Imamoto Ren, and here's the interesting thing. Well, not interesting, but hugely beneficial thing. The hunger rate. skeletons do not need to eat. And you see that all the body parts have durability of 200. Also, Yamamoto Ren is quite a bit tougher than we are. Look at the stats. Mid to low 20s as opposed to Terasaki. Still low 10s. So this guy is really tough. Let's look at the equipment. He comes with a skeleton repair kit, nearly 100%, and this is expensive. As you can see, if we would purchase this, it would be, at least 4,000 to buy it. For some reason, he has bolts regulars for the crossbow. Doesn't have any crossbow, but I guess found it somewhere. The shirt is trash, and then as we go down, well, this is a loincloth. All of this is garbage, and look at him wrapping his head in the bandana. These shoes are also terrible. The athletics penalty and the stealth effect doesn't matter. We're not going to make Yamamoto a stealth character, or at least not for now. There is also, another recruit available here, but for now we'll settle for 2, just to make sure that we can sustain ourselves. I can tell you immediately that we can definitely sustain ourselves even with a single character, and still have a hefty profit from automated mining, but let's just be on the safer side. So right now I want to purchase some food, and by the way, Gohan is one of the best types of food with the price to amount of the nutrition value, and it has 75 nutrition units, and the price is probably around 300-400 usually. It could be 450. The thing is, it takes 9 squares of space, so it's chunky piece of food. So having several of these on the adventure is actually not that comfortable, because it takes a lot of the inventory space, unless you have that excellent backpack where you can simply stack the items. So let us head over towards the Shinobi Thieves, and what I want to get here is at least a little bit of the equipment which is, not shoddy. So let's go in, and for the Yamamoto there is no point to even try and spend time training on the dummies which are on the second floor. If you remember, the skill cap is 10 and Yamamoto is way above that. So let's see if we see our trusty vendor here. No, not on the first floor. Second. Oh, here we go. He'll slowly run up. And got any smuggled goods? Of course I don't. I'm a scrub. I don't have anything like that. These are shoddy grade, which is 5, 15, 80, and 40 coverage. 11, 17, 60 coverage, and no athletics penalty. I'll sell these, and I think these are fairly cheap, right? Just 300. We can purchase these. This is just junk. It has no protection whatsoever, so just get rid of it, just wait. See what we could add here. Dark leather shirt. Blackened mail for 5k, I don't think so. Shoddy grade. These pants are alright, since these essentially give nothing. We can sell these and buy the black leather skirt. Yeah, we'll take this. It's not too bad. Actually, it's much better than what we had. Was 90% coverage and 17% protection. But here's the thing. Robots are uniquely resistant to cutting weapons, so katanas, bladed weapons, anything that is not a hacker, and a club will do reduced damage on these folk. And so their primary weakness is actually the armor penetrating damage types, such as blunt, coming from hackers and clubs. And so you want to increase the protection from blunt, and the cut resistance is secondary. Our weapons is a long sword, which is mid-grade salvage. This is one of the worst grades, but at least it's not rusting junk. It's okay, at least for the starters. Anything else we'll leave. This we will sell because it gives us nothing. Armored hood would give us penalty to crossbow, but a reasonable protection to the head. I'm tempted to take this, but not quite sure if I should. The price is nearly 1k. You know what? Let's sell the shoddy bandana and buy the mid-grade head protection. Yeah. So let's see how it looks on us. Yeah, he just put a chain hood over himself. Now this is actually non-standard equipment for robots. Actually, most of the equipment are non-standard for robots simply because the shape of their head. So there are several types of hats that you can put on a skeleton, and it will look very decent. I'd say everything else would kind of clip or give, this kind of interesting pattern. Also color your skull in a different color than your actual body, but that's okay, not a big deal. You can see that our bulky hydraulic legs don't really fit well within the boots, but that's also alright. So let us go ahead and try to set up an automated income generation with copper mining. So for that, we'll head over here towards the copper deposit. We can watch our guys go together. And here's the thing. There are options to allow your characters run at the speed of the slowest moving character. And to do so, you'll move right here into the motion tab where you have this. It's probably going to be a fight. Basically right over here with the running man, and you will click left or right, which gives you an option to walk, run, sprint, and walk at the speed of the slowest person. So this is what we want to do, so our whole squad moves as one whole. Alright, now these are outlaws. Okay, so outlaws are not the ones that will attack us and try to steal stuff from us because we're allied, and actually that's a neutral faction. These guys are not bandits. So let us set up an automated mining by giving the job task. And so we do that by holding the shift and right clicking on the resource. And right here you can see that the operating machine mining copper resource now is added to the queue, and it will be on auto repeat unless something prevents us from accumulation of the copper, and that could be if we gathered so much copper and haven't removed it, there is no way to accumulate any more. We don't have any storage, then the guys will stop. And that's why it was critical for us to put a storage of 100, well, that's capable of storing 100 units of copper back to our base. Now that's fairly far away, and I found that still, even at those distances, the characters will understand that there is a storage that belongs to you, even it's, a fair number of steps away from our current location. It's actually right there, around and over the hill. They will still understand that that is where they should go and deposit the copper ore they mined automatically. So let's see that happening in real time. And now that does, well, the darkness comes and you see that we're taking significant penalties towards our laboring skills, 56%, because we're in the dark, we can't see anything. Well, that's okay. We'll hold this piece of, this batch of ore, and then I'll get myself a single unit of a building material from the proceeds of the sales, and we'll put here a torch, which will allow us to harvest efficiently through the night. And as you can see, as soon as we reached 5, Terasaki took off, and he's going to move the ore all the way back into the container that we have set up in the town in our small house. Now, thing is, you probably wonder what decides which character is going to move the ore, and you might think that it's a character which is the leader of the group. It's actually not the case. It's the one that has the most athletic skills. Notice, not the most optimal ratio of the athletic skills to your strengths, because strengths defines of how efficiently you will still continue moving with heavy load, and obviously Imamoto being significantly stronger than Terasaki should have actually benefited from moving the items in the long term, but still, because I believe the athletics skills of Ren is lower. Let's see. Athletics 24, and then here, athletics 13. Well, I take my words back. So it must be that the leader of the group is the one that will actually take the ore. Here is the second batch being readied. Let's follow Tonbo back to our safe house and see him deposit the ore. Let's double click, and you can see he's over encumbered. Encumbrance 44%. But here's the thing, he's also training strengths at the rate of 19%. Let's see if the strength is increasing at a decent rate. It is 1% at a time, not too bad. And as he moves over here, you can recognize our house, and there you go. You see that he essentially touched the storage and delivered 5 units of copper, so we have 10 units of copper now. That's at the current rate worth slightly under 2,000 cats. So as you can see, in about 10 hours of game hour work, we earned 2,000 cats, and that is more than enough to support us in terms of food. This will become so much more fast when our laboring skills level up, and remember, we also were working primarily in the dark at half the rate. So the thing is that because there is a command to operate the copper resource automatically as soon as the current immediate command is complete, he'll run all the way, well, he'll try to run all the way to the resource and start mining again. You can cancel this annoyance by removing the command, but I don't suggest this, because then you have to reset, well, re-key all the commands, and some of the sequences might be fairly complex. They can have like a sequence of 10 or 12 tasks that feed into each other. You can temporarily pause this by unchecking jobs. And so right now you see, as we move Tonbo around, he no longer cares that he had primary task of hauling and mining. So let's do business. We'll take single building material, we're lucky to have one, and since we're here, why don't we take also research book? Good. Now let's reinitiate jobs, and we don't have to do anything else. You see that Terasaki will just move on his own. He knows where he needs to go. He knows that he needs to mine some more copper. So let us move it all the way here. And we continue mining. But remember that in the dark we were significantly penalized. So let's go to the light from the build section over here. Go to the light section. And you can have a large torch post and torch post. Well, this is actually a torch post that is mounted on the walls in the interior, so these are not really useful. So instead, we want a large torch post, something like this, placed as close as possible to the place where we work. If you press plus or minus, this will usually change the elevation, and based on the ground and angle, you can't really change it much. But I want it to be a little bit more level, maybe somewhere here. Interesting that I can't even change the tilt angle because it's such a small object. But alright, I think somewhere here would be fine. And we'll say confirm. And remember, if you don't click confirm, you can exit the screen, the build screen, by pressing escape. If you don't press confirm, then everything that you placed would be lost. And this is a very simple thing to make, so Terasaki will build it maybe in 20-30 minutes. Oh, it requires 2 building materials? Well, maybe we can find another... Well, how about we get some returns on our expenditures. We'll just rob this guy. And let's go to the barkeeper, and of course, nice, we do have a single unit of well, so we have several units of building blocks, but we're going to sell these, and make our money back, even. Jobs. No, we will return. And let's be close together. Let's work shoulder to shoulder. So we should be finishing it in a second. There we go. There's a tiny light now here, and during the dark it will become brighter, so we can work more efficiently. Now, here is the thing. Actually, this kind of torch posts do not require additional input from you in terms of adding fuel. So electricity and lamps will require you to have the generators of any form. Could be a fuel generator or anything else, like a wind generator with a battery that will generate the power or store the power, and then would feed into the electric equipment and the electric lights. But these torches do not require you to add anything, which is interesting, because you can definitely use the torches as a lighting inside of your housing and not spend, 50, 60, 100 units of electricity on lighting. I like building my houses and my outposts in the sense of the post-apocalyptic, super advanced civilization, and so having quality fluorescent lighting is something that adds to the mood. You can make something that looks medieval. The game is versatile enough to allow you to do even that. Now I know that Terasaki has a body wrap, and the thing is that the body wrap does provide a minor but uniform protection to the whole body, and we right now have a dirty... What is this? Yeah, just a piece of dirty cloth shirt, and it doesn't give us any protection. So let's equip white body wrap, or light body wrap. Right, so this will make us look lighter, slightly. It will appear as if we're wrapped in a bandage. I actually really like the dark body wrap, because it makes your whole skeleton looks nice and black in terms of looks like a covered unit. Alright, so they will be working and generating some income for us, and probably I'll spend another minute or two mining, and Tonbo went on to deposit the ore. So yeah, I actually don't know what decides whether one character is going to take the ore or another one, since you saw that Imamoto also went and deposited the ore into our storage container, even though previously Terasaki did all that. I'm going to pause right now, and we'll come over here, remove the jobs, take 20 units of ore, very heavy, and sell it to the barkeeper. Now our speed should be very slow. It's 65% encumbrance, which means that we should be generating a lot of strength XP. So I actually want to get strengths to say, I don't know, 10. We're at 8 now. And all it takes is just clicking back and forth, allowing your character to run with a heavy load. See, we're already at 9. And probably a couple of trips back and forth should be sufficient. Let me check on the strengths. It will probably be, yeah, 3 or 4 trips. And when the game first came out, it was an absolute pain to train skills without any mods, because it didn't have an opportunity to have a training station. Now we can purchase training station blueprints, which allows us to build a so-called advanced training dummies where we can train our skills up to level 70. And you might say that is kind of cheaty, but I actually don't think so, because in order to bring your character all the way up to 65 in 4 or 5 major categories, it will take a month or maybe 45 days even of the in-game training time. That's quite a lot. Your character is sitting around not doing anything. So, you know, you might just do some initial pump, so your main character doesn't shut down after being clubbed a single time. If you remember, when we started the game, Terasaki got into engagement with hungry bandits, and in 2 or maybe 3 hits, most of his health was 50% or lower, and we were suffering from the major injuries. We were limping and almost died. We were lucky that there were scavengers fighting the shinobi ninjas, which allowed us to scavenge some first aid kits and fix ourselves. And even then, our first aid skill was so low that it took us, well, I don't know, 4 kits to actually heal fairly basic injuries. Well, I say fairly basic because technically each body part that you see here and has 100 units of health, has just as much that you can go into the negatives without losing a body part. So if a body part and an appendage goes to minus 100, it will become amputated. You will need to get yourself a cybernetic replacement. If any of the vitals, such as head, stomach, or chest, go below 100, or 125 in case of the head, you will die irreversibly. The blood, is essentially something that consider is kind of keeping you cautious. So if you take too much of the lacerations and you bleed out below 0, well, actually, it can go somewhat below 0. I think you can go to minus 10 or something like that. You will lose consciousness, and if the blood goes to minus 50, in my case, I'll die. In case of robots, if you get to minus 100, you will die. And for the robots, the arm loss works in exactly the same way. If it gets broken way too much, it will just fall off, and you'll need another skeleton's arm to replace it. thing is that it's almost impossible to make the robots bleed because, well, they're iron and they really don't take much of a damage from the cutting blades, well, from the cutting damage to start with. I have in fact never had a character to bleed maybe even below, say, 90 or 80, and those were only the cases when I took a very specific type of damage, which is a piercing damage coming from the harpoons. So those are the projectiles. They do a very significant amount of damage, something like 100 points, even to a fairly tough character, and then they apply a tremendous amount of bleeding effect. So probably any other character would have passed out from loss of blood or oil, but the skeletons don't care. They're really tough. Also notice that we have a repair kit for the skeletons. This is equivalent to the bandages for organic characters. And the thing is that over time, as we'll take damage, our maximum hit point amounts on a skeleton are going to decrease. So 200 is max actually, and it can go all the way down to whatever 10, 20, even 10 and 20. And this is called a permanent wear on the robotic characters, and it can be actually fixed by placing your cybernetic friend in a skeleton repair bed. That bed will repair the active damage as well as the reduction or the wear damage, as it's called in the game, for the limbs and for, well, basically any body part. Here's an interesting thing. So if you have a character which has an amputated body part, say left arm, and you were able to put a cybernetic one on it, the color will change to gray, indicating that it's made of metal, and also in most cases the hit points of that limb are greater, so it's more durable than flesh and bone, and it takes damage and responds to damage just the same way as the skeletons do, which means that you will need a skeleton repair kit to repair damage to robotic limb, and the wear damage that will accumulate over time needs to be repaired in the skeleton bed as well. So, you know, these are really intricate details that actually make this game so great and fairly complex. We'll generate another round of copper hull, and I think at this point we'll stop the recording after Terasaki puts the stuff in the container, and call it a day. So we were able to set up an automated mining post, which generates a reasonable amount of money. I think this operation would give you 10,000 cats a day, and if you're not lucky with the spawns of the enemies, just as we were initially, and because we were able to actually rob so many tough enemies such as scavengers and dust bandits, which gave us a huge boost in terms of the money, the initial funds, you might need to spend, I don't know, 10 to 20 days, in-game days even, sitting here and mining, because, well, frankly, to do anything else in the game, you will need money, unless you have really tough characters which can actually just go in and fight and strip down the ancient ruins, which are very heavily protected. None of our characters have nearly enough skill to actually do that. Even if we had 10 characters at Imamoto's level, going into ancient ruin would result in painful death. So we're still the underdogs, still on the, maybe not at the complete bottom of the food chain, but not too high from being at the very bottom. So with this said, we are going to end the episode, and next time, hopefully, we'll explore surroundings and try to establish a small outpost of our own. Say, maybe in the swampy regions, because I actually have never built an outpost in the swampy regions where you have an abundance of water. But I think market problems with generation of electric power. So, thank you for being with me today, and I hope you liked the video. And if you have any comments, suggestions, a particular adventure that you'd like us to take Tonbo and Imamoto on, I'll gladly incorporate it into the next episode. Have a great evening, and goodbye.